This is a KREM 2 Weather Impact Alert.
Well, it seems it is here. Just 12 hours from now, we'll be looking at snow coming down just in time for our Wednesday morning commute. For that reason, we're under a KREM 2 Weather Impact Alert. That impact alert stretches from early tomorrow morning straight on through about the middle of the day for us here in Spokane. Snow will likely continue to fall in areas farther off to the north and in the Idaho panhandle just a bit longer. But when it comes to the impacts of this, they will predominantly be during the morning commute, hence the hours of this surrounding the morning commute. Anywhere between 1 and 6 inches of snow, and that is going to have an impact. Even if it's just 1 inch of snow, we're talking some major impacts on your morning commute and driving conditions. Widespread winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, and even some blizzard warnings. It is the second time in the past decade we have had blizzard warnings for the Cascade Crest. Only about 6 to 12 inches of snow falling. We've already seen storms so far this season that have put more snow than that up in the higher elevations of the Cascades. However, this is going to be for the blowing wind. Wind gusts up near 50 miles per hour will create zero visibility at times. Zero or near zero visibility stretches for 3 hours or longer is what constitutes a blizzard. That means that it will likely last for hours on end where it is near zero visibility heading over some of the mountain passes. Widespread heavy snow, 6 inches or so in the valleys, including places like Chelan, all the way up into Omak, Sherman Pass. You're looking at closer to a foot of snow. You get farther to the east and you slide into the winter weather advisories. 2 to 4 inches for northeast Washington, 2 to 3 for north Idaho, 1 to 2 for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, and then you move farther south, I think about an inch in places like Pullman and Moscow. Say the Silver Valley, you're around that 2-inch mark. Not much more, but just a little more because you stay a little bit cooler. This is all about timing, because timing is why this storm has the biggest impact. I personally do not believe that this storm would have near the same impact if it happened, say, in the middle of the day or late at night, but instead, because a bulk of the snow falls during the morning commute, it will have the biggest impact it possibly could. The only way this could be worse as if it were a Monday morning. Thankfully, it's a Wednesday morning. We've already settled into the work week because by noon, we're looking at that transition over to rain really south of Highway 2. Highway 2 south, think 90 south for North Idaho. Anywhere north of that likely stays snow a little bit longer, and that's why you get those higher snowfall totals. Strong winds across southeast Washington and the Cascade Crest basically accompany the snow. As it transitions into rain, it should subside just a little bit. There it is, the bomb cyclone that you've probably heard everything about. A bomb cyclone is when at 60 degrees latitude, 49 degrees north, remember, the ski resort, so 60 degrees latitude, it intensifies at a rate of 24 millibars per 24 hours. So that is a long stretch, but look at what it's done in the past 24 hours. It could very well get a central pressure that would be akin to a hurricane, but it is not a hurricane. It's not even close to a hurricane. It's a cold core low. A hurricane, warm at the center. This, cold at the center. The atmospheric dynamics could not be more different, but the impacts are still very similar. A ton of rain. That's associated with our atmospheric river targeting parts of Oregon and Northern California. Also the wind. When you're talking big pressure gradients, that drop in pressure, a change in pressure from one point to the other is why you get wind. If that change in pressure happens rapidly over a short distance, your wind will wind up being much, much stronger. And that's exactly what we have happening tomorrow. There it is on radar. You can already see some of that snow and rain enveloping much of the northwest. We saw that round of showers a little bit earlier. Still all the same storm. For us, as those move out, we now focus on what's starting to happen over the Cascades. It's already coming down as snow, very light in nature, and the wind hasn't picked up just yet. However, as we move through the next few hours, wind will start to pick up. By the 7 o'clock hour, snow has enveloped much of the Cascade Crest. It stays that way through the middle of the night. Notice right at the onset, Moses Lake and Ritzville have their best shot at seeing snow. You don't have to go much farther south than I-90 to find rain. It is going to be that type of temperature gradient. We talked pressure gradient, now we're going to talk temperature gradient because the change in temperature will impact what type of precipitation you will see. Palouse, Pullman, Moscow. You start out as snow. Lewiston in the Lewis and Clark Valley, a little bit lower, means that it's likely all rain for you. Snow takes you into the morning, so basically 4 or 5 a.m. Forecast models put it right around 5 a.m. The past few snow showers we've seen start about an hour earlier. So we're going to say 4 to 5 a.m. it gets started here in eastern Washington, down in the Palouse and North Idaho. Notice north central Washington just under the snow and staying that way. For us, bulk of our snow falls between, say, 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. That is why it is going to have the biggest impact on the morning commute. Even if it's a dusting, like we're talking just a thin little coat on the roads, it will have major impacts being the first snow of the season. I love snow. Snow is my favorite thing on the entire planet. But I have been doing this job for long enough to know that even just an iota of an accumulation of snow would amount to an entire commute just absolutely destroyed. So that likely happens. We'll hang on to the snow through the morning commute and into the middle of the day before it starts to make the transition over to rain. Notice it's already happened out in central Washington, but along that Highway 2 line in north, it stays snow. Here in Spokane and maybe in Coeur d'Alene a little later in the day, we'll make that transition. So it'll be rain falling on top of snow, and with temperatures in the 40s, it's likely a lot of that just melts quite quickly. That is tomorrow afternoon, eventually pushing snow up into the mountains. Notice Cascades dry out by the time we get to the latter half of the day tomorrow. We're looking at more of an event here for North Idaho and Northeast Washington. Wind out of the south will keep it much warmer, and then that will advect in more warmth before we get our next wave moving through later in the day on Thursday. And I think that one you have to go pretty high up to find snow. That's up over 3,000 feet. Here in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, it is likely going to all be rain for us by Thursday. All said and done, the snow totals aren't near as impressive as they were a little bit earlier in the week. The storm itself is equally as impressive. So most of the snow stays over in the Cascades. Most of the wind stays over on the west coast. For us, we're just kind of the ancillary to the whole entire thing. 1 to 2 inches of snow in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. I think you get up to, say, Mount Spokane or even Quartz, Micah, all of those, you're looking at a little more snow, but emphasis on a little, 4 inches maybe. Silver Valley, I think you're on the 2 to 3 range. Lookout Pass, 3 to 6. I think if you're heading over 4th of July Pass, maybe 3 inches. That's about where you're going to be. Everybody's morning commute is impacted out of this. Some of the places like 4th of July and Lookout stay snow throughout the day, likely slick as well. Off to the north, Sandpoint, Deer Park, Colville, 2 to 4 inches, pretty widespread. I think Newport, you're right in there, kind of that 2 to 4, Newport, Elk. You're just right in that 2 to 4. Grand Coulee, similar story. Omak, 4 to 6. Chelan, 6 to 8. And Snoqualmie, 6 to 10. Oftentimes, you're not seeing as much snow in places like Omak or Chelan, but the way this storm is moving and that strong southerly and then eventually southeasterly flow will push all that snow up against the Cascades, and they will get the same orographic enhancement we see oftentimes over here or on the Cascades because of the different wind direction. That snow melts pretty quickly in low elevations, but it still impacts the morning commute. Down to our south, it's a little bit of wind, gusts up to 60 miles per hour in your high wind warning. You get into the Palouse, say just the southern end of the Lewis and Clark Valley, gusts up to 50 miles per hour. Still be breezy for us, gusts around 25 miles per hour with some of that snow. You get up into the mountains, it is going to be wind and snow, especially over Snoqualmie Pass, where blizzard conditions are expected tomorrow morning. So if you can just avoid travel, snow is already coming down. Sherman Pass, no snow yet, but forecast 8 to 14 inches of snow, 3 to 6 over Lookout. Lookout, we saw a little bit of that snow earlier. The next round isn't going to be quite as harrowing, but still snow nonetheless. Moving out from there, still getting questions about Thanksgiving. It is likely that Thanksgiving week or the days around Thanksgiving on either side of the day wind up being a little bit cooler and likely a little bit wetter. It looks like our wet, cool pattern sticks around for us here in the inland Northwest. What does that mean right now? It's still up in the air. We're still a little bit far out to know exactly what it looks like. What we do know is what the next few days look like. And tomorrow is weather impact alert. Snow in the morning, rain by the afternoon. 42 degrees with a few afternoon showers on Thursday. We might see a peak of sunshine early in the day. The optimist in me threw that on the old 7-day. Friday, rain takes us into the day and right on through it. A few scattered showers Saturday, snow Sunday morning. Maybe. It's an emphasis on maybe, but it's an interesting pattern nonetheless.
This has been a KREM 2 Weather Impact Alert. Keep it right here on KREM 2 for updated weather impact information and get immediate weather impact alerts on the KREM 2 app.